Hi, all. Thank you for joining us. We'll be getting started in about 3 to 4 minutes. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to get started in just about a minute. I want to give a little more time for people to go ahead and log into the webinar. Okay, just to make sure that we have enough time to get to everything, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So let me start by sharing my screen. Okay, so let me start by saying congratulations. USC's admissions are very competitive, so it's really quite the achievement that you were admitted to USC. So very much congratulations to all of you that are attending the webinar today. So welcome to the University of Southern California. My name is Ray Fujioka. I'm with our Viterbi Admission and Student Engagement Office. Let's go ahead and get started. So we don't assume that USC is going to be the perfect fit for every student. So there are a lot of things that you should consider when you're deciding which of the schools that you've been admitted to you're going to attend. Obviously, one of the primaries are going to be your career and academic goals. After you complete your graduate studies, you'll want to think about the location of the school. And we'll go into a little more detail on that on the next slide. Strength of the alumni network. And as everyone knows, networking is one of the keys to success in your career. So the strength of an alumni network is actually something you should definitely be considering. And then finally, if you're interested in research, make sure that you take a look at what sort of research opportunities are going to be available to you at the various schools. So I had mentioned that location is something I was going to talk about a little bit more. So we are located in Los Angeles. In fact, we're about 15 minutes from downtown Los Angeles. LA is a global hub for innovation. And you can see here just a few of the companies that have a major presence here. Everyone from Amazon and Google to Hulu. We have two major institutes that are located in what's called Silicon Beach, which is basically one of the fastest growing entrepreneurial tech hubs in the world. So we have our Institute for Creative Technologies and our Information Sciences Institute are both kind of part of the Silicon Beach phenomenon. When I say that we are a global hub for innovation, that's not just in one area. And obviously we have entertainment, we have aerospace, mechanical engineering, biomedical engineering. USC has students in all different areas and disciplines of engineering. And basically Los Angeles is a great place for all of them because Los Angeles hires more engineers of all types than any other city in the US. On the more fun side, we are obviously a major urban center with a hugely diverse population. We're also close to a lot of nature, which is surprising considering the size of Los Angeles, but you have access to beaches, mountains, deserts, all within 30 to 60 minutes from LA City Center. LA is probably one of the only cities where you could conceivably go surfing, skiing, hike in the desert, and go clubbing in the evening all in one 24-hour period if you actually had the energy to do so. So one of the things that everyone is rightfully concerned about is what sort of opportunities are going to be available to you after you graduate. One of the major things, obviously, is what sort of career resources you'll have access to. Our Viterbi School of Engineering does have its own career services called Viterbi Career Connections. And one thing to keep in mind is that a lot of times when students think about a career services group, they mostly think about the Career Expo as its primary function. And our Career Connections does have two expos a year, each one drawing about 90 to 100 companies. But our Career Connections is a lot more than that. It has everything in addition to the expos, signature events where companies come in to talk with our students, both for networking internship and career opportunities. You can do internships for credit, whether you're an international student or a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. There are workshops for everything from resume writing to interviewing skills. And they also will help advise you on your career path and what opportunities are available to you. And this kind of falls into things like, a job and internship toolkit, where they'll help you look at the online resources to further your development. We do have a very large international student population within our grad school. And because of this, we have a lot of resources for our international students, including a very robust CPT and OPT internship program. And then finally, we're here to help you dig deeper into the various opportunities and industries that you have access to within your discipline. So to give you an idea of just some of the opportunities available, we have everything from the ability to meet companies like this Meet SpaceX and Visa Trojan Talk. We have mock interviews and career boot camps are examples of some of the other types of programming we do. And then Viterbi Trek is a really cool one in that they actually organize basically field trips to companies, so you can actually go to companies and visit their campuses and see what they're like. So in addition to obviously academics and things like careers, a lot of what you're here for is also just kind of the overall campus experience. So this is just kind of an idea of some of the less academically oriented things that students can do here at the USC campus. For those that want a little bit of assistance when they first come to campus, because it can be a bit of a shock to the system and can take a little bit of time to get your feet under you when you first arrive at campus, we do have a mentorship program that helps our newly admitted Viterbi grad students with their USC journey. So new students are basically paired with current Viterbi grad students. We try to match academic departments and degree levels, and they're basically there to kind of help you transition to life at USC. And they're not there as quote academic advisors. They're really there to help answer some basic questions and things. Basically, they're there to help you with the things that they found challenging when they were new students. One of the really important things, obviously, is our upcoming deadline for accepting your admission to USC. This is check your statement of intent. It turns out that actually the acceptance deadline date is actually is on your statement of intent. If you go there and look at the program you've been admitted to, just below that, you're going to see the actual deadline for accepting your admission. Most of you will have a deadline of either April 15th or May 1st. However, we do recommend that you accept your admission as soon as you know you're going to be coming to USC. And that's because the sooner you submit your statement of intent, the sooner you'll have access to things like pre-orientation resources. You'll be able to request joining our Viterbi mentorship program. You'll be able to connect with your departments through academic webinars, and you'll also be able to explore housing options. So if you're interested in living in USC-owned housing, you will want to go to housing.usc.edu and take a look at what's available and make sure that you enter the housing lottery. There's actually plenty of housing for all of our graduate students, but there's not enough housing owned by USC for all of our graduate students. So if you do want USC owned housing, make sure you enter the lottery. So that's kind of a quick overview of things that you might want to know as a newly admitted student. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Samantha Graves and Patty Reinhardt, who are advisors within our electrical and computer engineering department. And they're basically going to cover the important parts of this webinar.
Thank you, Ray. I'm just going to share my screen. Bear with me for a moment. Okay, that pull up okay? All right, well, welcome everyone and congratulations on your admission. My name is Samantha Graves. I'm one of the associate directors, essentially one of the academic advisors in the ECE department. I'm also joined here today with Patty Reinhardt, if Patty wants to jump on real quick and say hello. And this is Patty here.
Hi, everyone.
So Patty's also on our student services staff, so she's going to be helping with the Q&A this morning. So essentially, we are two members of our ECE Student Services team. And so we comprise 5 advisors. Diane Demetris is our director. She oversees all of student services for all our ECE students from undergrad to master's to PhD. She mainly focuses on our PhD student population in terms of direct advising of that academic group. And then the rest of us, myself and Patty, along with our colleagues, Gabby and Jamie, work with both our undergraduate student population and our master's population to assist you throughout your time in the degree program. With the master's students, we actually break you down by your given family last name in terms of who your assigned academic advisor is in the department. So Patty, for instance, works with students with last names A through J. Gabby works with students with last names K through L. Jamie with students last names M through T. And I bring up the rear with students with last names U through Z. So this, whatever your last name is, that would be your main point of contact to reach out to with any questions that you might have along the way. We are here to be a guide and a resource to you during your time in the program. So we wanted to take this opportunity to kind of go through and perhaps try to hit on some of the probably typical questions that you have at this stage in the game. So most of you've all been admitted, congratulations again. And hopefully some of you have already decided to attend USC and some of you are still trying to make that decision. So just in terms of questions that typically come up is kind of like, when are we going to get the ball rolling? When am I going to get registered for classes? That sort of thing. So at this point, us advisors, we're in the midst of our spring semester, trying to get students graduated and out the door in May. So typically we will start really reaching out in terms of communication, in terms of next steps for our admitted students. Sometime in late May, we will wait for our Viterbi graduate admissions team to send us a list of all of our certified students, that have confirmed they're coming. And then we will go out with some valuable information to you to help you prep for registration and the fall semester. So, so a lot of times, like, how am I going to take you register for classes? How are we going to help you with that? So we send out what we generically call our registration and advisement email. Again, sometime late May, which will give you kind of all the key nuts and bolts that you need to know in terms of, as an incoming first semester student, what classes you should be registering in your first semester. We break it down based off of your major, whether you're coming into our MSEE general program, depending on what you want to focus in, versus if you're doing our machine learning and data science or our MS in financial engineering, whatever your major may be. We have specific classes in the first semester that we will say, here's 3 to 4 courses to choose from, pick 2 of them, and so we'll walk you through that process. So please do not worry yourself at this point, but there are very specific classes that we want you to take in that first semester as building blocks so you can move on to other classes later on in the program. So a lot of that information in terms of also like how to where to go on web registration is all in that initial email that we send out by late May. One thing to be aware of is that a large part of our population are international students, and you aren't able to actually register until you have arrived in the US and you have completed what's called ISV, or immigration status verification process. So it's okay. I mean, hopefully a lot of you will plan to arrive sometime from maybe late July, early August. We really encourage you, if you're in the stage of like kind of planning out, if you're committed to coming to USC, looking at when you want to arrive, classes will start Monday, August 21st. Generally, orientations will be sometime in that first or second week of August. So we really would encourage you to consider arriving by early August, a couple of weeks ahead of the semester starting. So you have plenty of time to get settled into your new housing, attend the orientations, you know, and have everything kind of settled before classes start. It's not in your best interest to wait until right before the semester starts to arrive. So just food for thought as you're trying to plan out when to consider arriving. And so the sooner that you arrive, then once you're here in the US, you can do your ISV. And once that's lifted, and that's a process with our Office of International Students, once you have a hold that's lifted from your account, then you can register for classes. Domestic students admitted to our program can, I think, register, you know, sooner. But once we send out the registration advisement email, that's when we say just hold off until then to register. We offer a lot of classes in ECE. Students will get into classes that they need for their first semester. Note, some classes might fill up at some point, but there is always some option of classes that will work for your degree program and path. So we just ask you to come in with an open mind and don't get so set on like, I have to take these 2 specific classes. There's always classes that will work in order to, kind of meet your degree requirement needs. And if you don't get into a certain class your first semester, you will likely get into it the second semester. So please do not stress about registration, but certainly the sooner you can register, the better. It's better to not wait until right before classes start. Another question might be, how should we prepare before the semester starts? So key thing is really staying on top of all the communication that you're receiving from the university, from our Viterbi admissions and student engagement, or you'll hear us talk about the VACE office, or from the ECE department. So we will have an academic webinar planned for later in May or June is when that academic webinar will be. We'll go into a bit more detail still about your program. There'll be orientations in August. Again, just making sure that you're really going through all the information that's being sent to you via email, going through that, really trying to understand what information has been sent to you. And just a lot, let alone the VACE website, along with our ECE department website. Maybe Patty can put them in the Q&A chat box. Those are great resources that have a ton of information that can answer a lot of your questions up front anyways. So, on our department website, we have links to all our degree programs. You can familiarize yourself with your degree requirements. Another question a lot of students might have are like, can I switch programs? I was admitted to this program and I'm kind of thinking about another program. Well, it depends. Major changes may be possible after your first semester. They can't be done at this point. However, switching majors within the ECE department is going to be more feasible than, say, trying to go to another program outside of the ECE department, and say another engineering program. So if, for instance, you were admitted to the master's in computer engineering and what, I really want a bit more flexibility, you can switch to our master's in electrical engineering after the first semester, and that's not an issue. We have We have information on our department website regarding the change of major process. Our machine learning and data science program, our financial engineering master's program, and our quantum information systems program, it is possible to change majors to those majors, but we're looking for you to have specific classes after in your first semester with specific grades in order to be considered for a major change for those specific ones. But again, if you're thinking of potentially switching majors to another program outside of the ECE department, you will really need to, you'll have to reach out to that department to see if they will consider you for a change of major after your first semester. And if that's the route you want to go, then you'd have to register for their classes in the first semester, but there's a risk entailed with that, because if it doesn't work out, you're kind of, it's not assumed that those classes will be used towards an ECE degree. So it's on you to speak to the other department. Sometimes students are really interested in perhaps computer science. They are a very large, highly enrolled program, highly impacted. So they are very strict in terms of transfers to the program. They will only consider students if you were not admitted directly into the CS program at this stage. They will only possibly consider you for their scientists and engineers master's program, which is a 37 unit program. So it's considerably more units. Most ECE majors masters are anywhere from 28 to 33 units. So it is more credits involved with that program. But again, you have to reach out to the CS department and review their information on their website. You're thinking, oh, it's my first semester, I want to, get a sense of different classes, not just in EE. We are open to you taking classes outside of the EE department. However, in your first semester, the expectation is that all your classes need to be from the EE department to give you kind of the fundamentals, the prerequisites to move on to higher level classes. We have a couple programs, our MS in financial engineering. There is a Graduate School of Business course that's recommended in your first semester. So there are some asterisks to that, but for the most part, all you'll see when we send out the information, the expectation is that you choose from EE classes in that first semester. It is possible perhaps to take classes in future semesters from other engineering departments towards your degree, a couple of classes from other departments, depending on your major requirements. And we do have a process to get pre-approval from our department to apply courses towards your degree if it's a class outside of the department. So just be aware of that, kind of store that knowledge in the back of your brain for now. But it's nothing really to worry about at this point, because you'll see the first semester classes are generally all going to be from the EE department. Something else you might be considering, are there opportunities to do research or what paid opportunities, you're here, you're taking on, some financial responsibility with your master's degree, how can you earn some money, perhaps before you start doing internships, if you're international CPT, which can't be done until after you've been here for a couple semesters. So we do have master students that get involved in research with our faculty. In the first semester can maybe sometimes be a little trickier to do research right off the bat. We probably would recommend that you really focus on, transitioning, focusing on your academics, getting to know the faculty, and kind of getting to know the faculty and what research is going on in the department. But it is possible to earn up to 4 units of directed research. You would register for EE 590, which is a directed research course, but it allows you to work with a professor and earn up to 4 units towards your degree requirements. That works for most of the degree programs. Directed research can be done even if you're not registering for credit. You can, volunteer in a professor's lab. And sometimes there are opportunities to get paid for helping out in their labs, but that usually is later on. Generally, a professor wants to kind of get to know you in their classes, see that you're a good, hardworking student, before they agreed to have you start volunteering or working in their labs to do research. But a big way that a number of our master students also will find ways of earning some money is we do hire students to be graders or course mentors. But you have to wait until after your first semester because you need to establish a GPA. The department and faculty only want to hire, our top students for those departments. So should you do well in some of your courses this first semester, that's going to increase your chances of being hired for a grader in a future semester. And so we have a process by which students submit an online application. But the key thing is really you working, to get to know the faculty and let them know that you'd like to be, work for them as a grader in a future semester. But we have a lot of students that are hired in those positions. Some of you may be asking about or thinking about what opportunities we have for teaching assistantships or research assistantships. Maybe that's sort of things that you've been exposed to during your undergraduate studies. At USC, teaching assistant positions and research assistant positions, which are paid positions that also pay for tuition, they're reserved for our PhD students. All our PhD students are fully funded, so we first have to ensure that all our TA and RA positions are for PhD students. In very rare circumstances, a master's student may be offered a TA position, but it's, again, super rare, and you really have to have kind of really stuck out for a professor. We must have like no other PhD student that we can hire for that position. So if you are thinking long-term, you might like to transition from the master's into the PhD program, know that it's certainly possible. We do have students that do that. The key thing is, doing really well academically, getting involved with research, because your recommendation from faculty is going to be going to go a long way in terms of the PhD admission process, whether it's at USC or going to another school for a PhD program. So it's important to make those connections with faculty while you're during your time in the master's program. That, I think, sums up some of the main questions typically we have at this point. I'm sure there's been some activity in the Q&A box, and we can pull from the Q&A. At this point, I don't know if Patty, if you had anything else you wanted to add, but I'll pull up the Q&A box to see what's been coming through. So somebody had asked if there was any possibility for masters to work as research assistants. So a master's student can work in a lab as a researcher, but a research assistant position in terms of a salary plus tuition is reserved for PhD students. A student is asking who's been admitted to the machine learning and data science program, whether courses are more electrical oriented or computer science oriented. I'd say it's a little more electrical oriented, but there is certainly programming and things built into some of the courses, but they're taught, they're EE courses. So it's there is a little bit more. Again, I encourage you to really look at the degree requirements, go to the catalog. It has the course descriptions for all the courses that are required for your program. What is the batch size for computer engineering? So I'm not sure exactly what you mean by batch size, but if you're thinking about the total number of students in the program, we have, in the whole ECE department, we have upwards of around 1,200 total master students. Our most popular majors are our master's in electrical engineering and our master's in computer engineering. I haven't looked at specific numbers. I would say probably at least 30 to 40% of our students are probably 30% are in the computer engineering. Our master's of financial engineering and our machine learning and data science are also two other programs that we have more students in. And then we have a number of like 10 other master's, specialized master's programs, which basically have very tailored coursework depending on if you're focusing in VLSI design or computer networks, depending on the major. So somebody could be a computer engineering master's student taking the same coursework as somebody who is in the declared VLSI design master's program. A student asked about attending career fairs, if they can attend a career fair with the Marshall School if they're a financial engineering student. So we definitely have companies that are coming and looking at for students that have the skill set from our financial engineering, and then our MS Fine program also is kind of correlated with our industrial systems engineering. Some of the coursework that you take is from the industrial systems engineering, and there's majors in that program. So our career fair, we definitely pull folks. I can't tell you exactly the rules on whether you can attend a Marshall School, a Marshall career fair. That would be something you'd want to reach out to the Marshall careers fair, career center regarding, I don't want to say blanket, like, yes, you can. Let's see. Place time for one or two more questions, and then we do have some student panelists who are going to also share their experiences as students, and we'll have more time for Q&A before in the next half hour. Some of the questions are a little hard to follow. A student had a question about co-op opportunities. So co-op will, there's a difference between co-ops and internships, but essentially internships generally are done after you've been, big portion of our population are international students. You have to be enrolled for 2 semesters before you can then work off campus and do an internship. So that for students starting in fall 2023, that would put you summer of 2024 when you would be able to be doing internships off campus. And so you would be searching for internships in fall 2023, early spring for that summer 2024. And then after that point, we do have students who in their second academic year might be doing their class, full-time coursework at USC, but if they've secured an internship and working less than 20 hours a week, there is the possibility of doing CPT part-time while taking classes, but you need to be working, here at taking classes at USC. I know there is information about employment outcomes on the Viterbi Career Connections website. I don't think Ray went over it. I thought I'd seen, but our Viterbi Career Connections office does have data that you can access on their website to go over specific career outcomes by major. They handle all that information. Okay, at this point, I think I'm going to shift gears a little bit and turn it over to Mithun and Catherine, who are 2 of our current master students. Thank you both for joining us today. I'm not sure if you want to unmute, but I wanted to take a moment to start out. Perhaps, Mithun, if you can go first by letting us know a bit more about yourself, what you're currently studying, where you're from originally, maybe where you went to school for undergrad, why you chose USC, and what your plans are post USC, if that's enough you can remember all those things. And then Catherine can go next.
Hi, Samantha. Can you hear me? Am I audible enough?
Yep, we can hear you.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Mithun, and I'm from Bangalore, India. I'm an international student, and I'm in my 2nd semester of computer engineering. So I was admitted originally to the computer engineering program in EC department. But I've taken up courses and I'm planning to shift my major to MLDS, which is the machine learning data science program. My background is that I finished my undergraduate in computer science from BMS College of Engineering in Bangalore, India. And I chose USC. I did have admits from 3 other universities, but I chose USC uh, for a lot of reasons, for a lot of multitude reasons, but the biggest of them being the experience that you get in USC in a urban city like LA is very different compared to the experience that you'd probably get in any other universities. Second, the academic and uh, the rigorous nature of the coursework and how it is planned is actually unrivaled at USC. And sometimes I'm not sure if that's a good thing based on how many hours I'm spending studying myself. But the intensity of the courses is the second reason. And the third reason is how prominent and large the Trojan network is. So at USC, apart from your academics, your social life is going to be very vibrant. So just in my first week or a few weeks, I've met around 500 people, and a lot of them are. It's hard to keep faces and names together sometimes. And you meet so many people, and the Trojan network is so inclusive and so widespread and so diverse that you're going to end up meeting so many people in various walks of life, so many alumni who are in various stages in their life, who are willing to talk to you, drop everything and talk to you just because you have a badge that says Trojan, right? So that is really something really wonderful about USC, which drew me to the university. I hope I answered all the questions, Samantha.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Catherine, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Hi, Sam. Am I audible?
Yes, you can hear you fine.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine. This is my second semester here at USC. I'm majoring in electrical engineering, and I'm from Chennai, India. Why I chose USC? In my undergrad back in India, my major was electronics and communication engineering. If some of you would have heard of it. And I wanted to pursue my master's in electrical engineering and specialize in signal and image processing. And while I was going through the resources and labs that USC had, I found out about the Signal and Image Processing Institute, and I believe it originated somewhere around 50 years ago. And since then, it has contributed a lot to modern day technology. Many of the modern words that we hear are some that originated here. And there are many experienced professors who have contributed to a lot of the modern day technology that we see today. And just thinking about being their student and learning under them, working with them, that was a great inspiration for me to become part of USC. And apart from that, the location of USC, I mean, being in California and being very close to Silicon Valley, there are a lot of opportunities that you can get after you complete your degree. And again, as Mithun says, the Trojan Network is massive. There are people from there are a lot of alumni who are at different places right now, and you can get a lot of contacts, build your network, and that will definitely help you in your future to build a stable career. And these are the main reasons I chose USC.
Great, wonderful. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. Perhaps maybe you can both touch on, kind of that initial or your experience from your first semester. What was it like taking classes, graduate level classes? How demanding was the coursework? If you can touch on that.
I'll go first, if that's okay.
Mhm.
There's a huge difference between undergraduate and graduate level courses. So coming from undergrad, I assumed, hey, it's going to be the same because we take a lot of credits in undergraduate, right? So we end up taking easily 12, 14, 16 credits sometimes in undergraduate level classes. So I assumed, hey, it's going to be the same. And I took up 10 credits in my first semester in grad school. But as it turns out, the graduate level credits are not the same as undergraduate level credits. And you have to put in a lot of effort and self-study to do the same. The courses in undergrad are usually very, the instructor really goes through everything, and they go through topic by topic and make sure you understand each thing. But graduate school is not like that. So a graduate school is more about what you can learn on your own. The instructors and the professors are there as like guiding Sherpas, right? They've trekked the mountain, and they know every nook and corner and valley that is there in the field, and they can guide you towards it. But it is your job, and it's completely the sole responsibility of learning is on the student, and it's up to you to reach out to the professors and the teaching assistants and the course producers, and figure out your own way up the mountain, and you got to put in the legwork as well. So I took up 10 credits in my first semester and 8 credits in my second semester, and all of them have been really good so far. And you usually have, as usual, you have your weekly assignments or your midterms and final exams and projects, and you'll be graded based on that.
Great, thank you. Catherine, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I think Mithun covered most of the academic part of it, but as an international student coming to a different country, probably for a lot of people being the first time stepping away from home, can be really overwhelming, and it will take time to settle and get used to being independent in a completely different country, getting used to the way of life, to finding your way around the city, to getting to know more people, getting to know places in the university. It will take time, but I won't say it's not possible. I mean, over the first few months, you will definitely get your way around the university and get accustomed to all the way of life and things like that. So it can get overwhelming at first, but don't worry about all that. It should fall into place within the end of your first semester. And with balancing life and classes, that might get a little challenging at times, but as you go through your first semester, you should master that skill by the end of the first semester. And again, with regards to classes, I feel that there is a big difference between undergraduate level courses and graduate level courses that you see here at USC. At the very beginning, I was overwhelmed by the intensity of the course, and I felt it was very rigorous and challenging. But again, when you have a lot of resources here that you can approach, the professors, the TAs, and it's self-driven. You will have to go and approach the professors or the TAs to get whatever you need. And whatever help you need, they will be ready to do it for you. And though it may seem difficult at first, if you really put in the efforts from your side and try to just do what you need to and get your way through the course, you will be fine. And I think if you just put in all the efforts from your side, you don't need to even worry about your grades. They will fall into place automatically. And that's it from my end.
Thanks. Great. Yeah. So I think key takeaways, I think it's important to give yourself grace in this time of transition, but to be aware, not come into it naively thinking like, oh, I was a, straight A student or I was a good student undergrad. There is a significant jump to graduate school. I think not just at USC, any top institution in the US, regardless of when you went to school in the US or abroad. And so it's, I think the key thing is to be aware of that and know that it's going to take some extra work, but our students are successful. And I think the important thing is reaching out for help and, working with the faculty and TAs and your classmates for support in your classes. To kind of get into new routines and understanding the workload. I wanted to maybe switch gears a little bit. Maybe probably a burning question a lot of people have thinking about, the move to LA. Can you tell us kind of how, if you have any tips in terms of how you found housing or roommates or how all that came to be, and and touching on campus safety, or what you do or what you see as resources around the USC campus in terms of keeping students safe as we are a campus in an urban environment.
Okay, that's a good question. The way I found housing personally, Ms. Graves, is we had WhatsApp groups for admitted students on Yaket, so they would get posted around on Yaket, on Grad Cafe. And there's also a Discord server where there's a lot of information and housing related groups that post. So that's how I personally got a hold of some of the housing, off-campus housing, that the leases that are on. But of course, if you just Google leases around USC, and in the pin code 90007, you'll find tons of websites that are under management, and under some of the leasing management companies such as Stuho, Moxie. There's studenthousing.com, and so there's tons of websites that are available. Apart from that, I think going through someone, if any senior that you know, or anybody at USC that you know, if you can reach out to them, I'm sure that they can provide some resources for housing. And the most important thing when you're looking for housing is to ensure that if you're looking at off-campus housing, is to look at if the house is in the DPS zone or not. So the DPS is the Department of Public Safety unit of USC, which is a sort of an enforcement agency within USC that provides safety and security to the students. So any incident that happens, it could be a crime, or it could be a misdemeanor, it could be anything. It should be reported to the USC DPS, and somebody from the DPS takes care of it for you. They are like a law enforcement agency who are very friendly, very helpful, and they're going to walk you through on what to do, and how to proceed with any incidents that may occur. And they also patrol the entire DPS region, which is around a 1.5 2 mile radius around USC. It's a region where they patrol every evening. They station DPS staff on the streets of the DPS zone, and you can just walk around USC and you will see DPS staff in yellow jackets just standing around in the streets. All of this is to ensure that the region around USC is extremely safe, and it's a conducive environment for us to be in.
Thank you.
Yes. So how I found housing was similar to what Mithun said. There were many WhatsApp groups that were circulating. So if you join one, you'll get the links to join many other groups. So there are regional WhatsApp groups, like from cities or based on your department. You can find multiple WhatsApp groups, and you can network with people, admitted students from the place or from your same department. There was another way that I found housing was some people were putting up Excel sheets with students filling in their details, like name, where they're from, and their preferences for housing and their contact. So if you probably go and enter in your information, you can also find other people who have put in their information. And if you find maybe some people that with whom your preferences match, you can reach out to them and to figure out if they already found a place and they're looking for other people to join them, or if you have found a place and if you're willing to find roommates, that is an option. And looking for housing, yeah, again, I think it's just Googling about available apartments around USC within the DPS zone. And it's advisable to stay very close to the campus and within the DPS zone. I think it'll be easy for you to commute to the campus and back the closer you are, the better. And within the USC DPS zone is the most preferred location that most people choose. This is pretty much how I found housing. And in terms of safety, I think within the DPS zone, there's not much you need to worry about. And you might have heard a lot of people say you'll have to travel in groups. That is advised a lot of times. And prefer not traveling alone anywhere, especially at night. Though there are a lot of, DPS patrolling and stuff, it's always better to stay safe and travel in groups. Also, if you want to travel at night, we also have the free lifts through which you can probably commute within a particular zone to the campus and back, or anywhere within that zone. So that's so if you have to travel, if you have to study in the university late at night, and you don't have to worry about traveling back home, you'll have the free lift that you can use. And again, there are yellow jackets who are ambassadors who will just stand around at various points within the DPS zone to take care of the safety aspects. And I would also like to mention that the campus is very safe, so you don't need to worry about anything inside the campus. And yes, I think that's pretty much what I had to say.
Thanks. Can you each touch on, what you've been able to get involved in since being at USC, whether it's anything engineering related groups or even just social non-engineering related groups or activities? If you could give students kind of a flavor of what options that you your friends have gotten involved in.
Yeah, so USC has so many groups and organizations, student organizations, that when you come in as a first semester student, and when the first time you attend the student organization fair, you'll want to join them all, and that's something I think I did. I joined the 3D4E, which is 3D printing for everyone. It's an incredible group of people that they teach you how to do 3D printing, how to design, how to use CAD and design software, and you get to print all the 3D prints that you want. So my room is filled with trinkets that I've 3D printed, Pokemons, figures and figurines and all sorts of stuff. So that's been an incredible experience. 3D printing, 3D4E is a good group that I've joined. Grids is a machine learning enthusiast group that meets usually every week or once in 2 weeks. The Grids group meets and we do discussions on machine learning, and they usually call in industry experts to come and give seminars on a state of machine learning, or probably take a tutorial on how to do certain new things that are out there. I'm also part of the photography club. So photography club conducts excursions every month. So that's usually Santa Monica or one of the hundreds of hiking locations around LA. So they take us around, and they're very helpful in teaching us the basics, as well as helping you in finding the right photograph. Outfitters is another group, which is an outdoors enthusiast group. So I've discovered a lot of unique places in LA as a local group, and all of it is thanks to the Outfitters group. So there's tons of student organizations like this on campus, and you will find your tribe and your vibe very easily just by looking at a few.
Great. I think we've kind of covered all the major umbrellas of questions. I know there's been a lot of activity in the Q&A box. I really thank our VASE folks, Maria and Ray and Patty, for helping with those answers. And I know Mithun and Catherine have jumped in on a few of those typing answers. So we've hopefully tried to answer a lot of questions that you've had today. Some of them are very kind of specific, really personalized to you, which might be better suited for, another conversation offline. We can, I think we are trying to end this by 10 a.m. Pacific time. So I just wanted to, just one last opportunity for Mithun and Catherine, if they had any lasting thoughts or words that they wanted to make sure they conveyed before we wrap this up, if there was anything else you wanted to make sure they were aware of.
Yeah, so really quick, I feel you cannot go wrong with USC and the EC department. It is just the opportunities are endless, and I think if you do pick USC and your program in the EC department, you'll be more time strapped to doing things, because you'll have so many things that you want to do and so many opportunities that present and pop up every day, every week. The amazing learning culture and learning experience that you'll experience here, it is just very exciting. And I'm so happy for all of the admitted students, because you're going through the same exciting and wonderful phase that I did. And I wish all of you good luck in your endeavors.
Yes, I would also like to jump in. One thing I would like to say is, if you have decided on USC, I think this was mentioned before, is to start getting your processes done as soon as possible, because a lot of people try to wait for admits from other universities and they might delay their decisions. That can cause a lot of delay in your further processing, leading to traveling, you're getting your visa procedures done and all that. So the earlier you finalize your university, it's better to start your processes going, and so that everything falls into place on time and there won't be any delays for you to coming into the university and starting your classes on time. And as soon as you come here, you'll have, I'm pretty sure you'll have an uphill learning curve. From the time I came here till now, my learning curve has been going up and up and up. There's so much to learn once you come here, both in life and as you start your courses. It will get challenging at times and rigorous, but trust me, it's all worth it at the end. At the end of the 2 years, you're going to feel that you have actually achieved something and accomplished something, and you will definitely be at a different place in your career once you get through your master's course. So I wish all of you all the very best and hope to see you all in fall.
Thank you so much. So again, hopefully we were able to answer most everybody's questions in this hour. Do know that, so again, like I said, we will be coming forward with more information later in May. You have to please give us grace and understand we have we have to be working with our current students at this point. However, you certainly can email your assigned advisor at this point. Note that we may say, just please hold tight, because a lot of the questions, the answers are forthcoming, and they, depending on if it's something related to registration, it's not time critical at this point. We do offer our virtual drop-ins through the end of the spring semester, so through mid-May. We are reachable via Zoom drop-ins on Tuesday afternoons from 2 to 4 p.m. This is Pacific Standard Time, and on Friday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So our virtual Zoom drop-ins, I put our Ming Hsieh department website, which hopefully you've all visited already. But on our department homepage, if you scan down, there is a link to our ECE virtual drop-in advising schedule and the link to the Zoom. So you're welcome to drop in at those days and times to talk to an advisor. If your assigned advisor is available, another advisor can answer any questions that you have. So no, that's an opportunity if you have any burning questions at this point, but just do know that information about registration is forthcoming, and it's nothing that we don't want you to get fully worried about that just yet. There's plenty of time to get to that part of the process. So you know that that's an option to utilize, and we will continue to have them over the summer, generally maybe 1 day a week over the summer. We're reachable for virtual drop-ins as well. Well, thank you to our base team for organizing this today. I think we will close it up given the time frame. But again, thanks to Mithun and Catherine, Patty, Ray, and Maria for organizing and helping with the event. And congratulations to you all. And we really look forward to hopefully seeing and working with you in the fall semester.